ladies. What comes to mind when you think of blessing, the blessings of God? And when the Bible promises blessing, what do you picture? How does God define blessing? What does that look like? God told Abraham in Genesis chapter 12, "And I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. In thee shall all families of the earth be blessed." It's a wonderful promise, but the blessing he's talking about, is it as much in the process, God's process, as it is in the promise that he's walking towards? Abraham was given that promise, and then he has a road he has to walk. What does that look like? So God told Abraham, "I will bless you." And blessing looked like, leave everything behind and go to a place that I will show you. I'm not telling you where you're going, just start walking. Blessing looked like being well past age for having a child, still not having that son God promised. Blessing looked like having that son, and then God saying, "Offer your only son to me." God told Abraham, "You will be a blessing. In you shall all the nations of the earth be blessed." See, blessing looks like that thing that God walks me through, that situation that in turn brings hope to someone else later on down the road. The testimony of his keeping power that in turn flows out to people that I come in contact with, that blesses those around me. That thing that I didn't want, that thing that I may have begged God to take away, that situation that I asked him to take me out of, then I relinquish control and say, "Lord, your will be done." And instead of taking me out, he walks with me through it. He keeps me through it. Because the blessing that God wants to give me, is it as much in the process as it is in the outcome that I'm looking for? Is blessing when I get what makes me happy, or is blessing when the will of God is accomplished in me? If we look at Matthew 5 at the Sermon on the Mount, when Jesus talked about blessing, he's looking towards an outcome, but from the perspective of a process. He says, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." He's talking about a process to get us to that blessing. "Blessed are they that mourn, blessed are the meek, blessed are they which hunger and thirst after righteousness, blessed are the merciful, blessed are the pure in heart, blessed are the peacemakers, blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake. Blessed are ye when men shall revile you, and persecute you, and say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake." Sounds exciting, right? But he's talking about a process. The one that I'd rather skip. The one that takes place between here and the promise. I'm going to reiterate, blessing is when the will of God is accomplished in me. That's what blessing looks like. God's blessing is a wonderful thing, but it doesn't always look the way that I want it to look along the way. Because it's not about my will being accomplished. It's about putting my will on a cross and pursuing his. It's not about my route to get there. It's his outcome. It's his blessing, so it's got to be his map. I'm going to leave you with one more. Luke 1:45 says, "And blessed is she that believed, for there shall be a performance of those things which were told her from the Lord." Both that process of believing and the fulfillment of the promise are blessing. It takes trust in his promise and his way to get us to that promise. But his will being accomplished in us, now that is blessing.